Hi everyone, my name is Tsu-Kun, and today we're going. Well, I wouldn't say today, but let's continue with more Katawa Shoujo on Lily's route. Oh god. I opened my eyes groggily, completely bereft of energy. For a while, I simply lie down lifelessly, staring at the ceiling as I review the events of this morning in an attempt to organize my thoughts. We went to walk to town. My heart nearly gave way. I came back, I took my pills, I slept. I can only remember each period of time as a snapshot, but the time is clearly enough. The memory of the girls' faces as I struggled to stand in an unpleasant one, stinging my feelings harshly. If I look at the ceiling hard enough, I can imagine the tile edges and small dimples of the ceiling in the hospital. That fact alone is enough to make me sit up and try to pull myself together. I scratched the back of my disheveled hair, glancing around the room. Lily and Hanako are nowhere to be seen, and the television's turned off. The clock above it says it's pretty late in the afternoon. The noticeably reddened sky outside the window confirms it's further. I turn and pick myself off the futon, swaying slightly as I put my arms out for balance. I suppose I'd better go look for the girls and see if they're alright. They're alright. As I look out the window, I fairly see something in the distance. Straining my eyes, I just can't make out the shape of a person. I can just make the shape out of a person's figure. Her long blonde hair, swaying in the faint breeze, makes her almost seem to melt into the bright yellow of the wheat field. Without a second thought, I leave the room to follow that lone apparition. The brightness of the sun settling assaults my freshly woven eyes, forcing me to avert them until they adjust. The long yellow strain of wheat brush against my legs as I wade through them. Densely grown field, making it hard to advance. Regardless, my eyes stayed fixed ahead, true to that solitary figure. Within minutes I reach her. Meters behind her, turned back. Lily? She simply nods. Where's Hanako? She's in bed. She went to sleep after I calmed her down. She says it in a matter-of-factly and with as few words as possible, as if saying any more were strictly forbidden. There's something different about her. Her normally confident figure seems oddly fragile, her body offering no resistance to the breeze blowing her skirt. The strands of wheat sway from side to side, while a deafening pause passes. The only sound begins their rustling. As we stand in the field, though, I know what to ask. What's wrong, Lily? You're not acting like you usually do. Remember when I talked of my family, Hisao? Your family? Your family. I looked downwards in thought, sifting through my scattered memories. The event seemed to leap ready to hand when I searched for it, rising to the surface as soon as it was recalled. After Hanako's birthday party, she gives a simple nod. It was nice back then. You and I celebrating with Hanako, simply sharing presents, talking, having fun together. It was almost as if we were a family, one small, misshapen family. I thought that could just go on forever, just the three of us, happily together. She takes a long breath, a slight shakiness to it, just barely audible through the moving air. Even if my family was so far away, as long as we were together, that was all I needed. I don't want to lose you, Hisao. I didn't even realize how afraid I was losing someone else until today. I'm sorry, Lily. I know my body's weak, but even then I make the most stupid of mistakes. Don't apologize. Please, don't apologize. Lily? She turns to face me, her pale cheeks stained with tears. One misguided step after another, she stumbles towards me, her arm held out in search of so much as a faint brush against me. My heart doesn't race nor pound as I step towards Lily, gently taking and steadying her arm in mine. steadying her in my arms as she quickly clutches to me, sobbing, with her face trembling against my shoulder. The next word from her mouth are the last I expect. I love you, Hisao. I love you. 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 Don't go away. I beg of you. Never ever go away. I love you. So please. So that's why she's been acting like this. That timid voice when I call her. Her thoughtless concern at the slightest pain I might feel. After having been left in Japan without her family, with only Akira, Hanako and I around, she was afraid of losing yet another person who was close to her. She was genuinely worried for me. It's a strange feeling, a mix of surprise and sorrow, yet also of the deepest gratitude I think I've ever felt. The only reaction I can muster among my conflicting emotions is a calm sigh. You idiot. Hisao? For a fleeting moment, I feel her body become still. The only movement to be felt is the calm afternoon breeze. I said it before, didn't I? It's only natural to feel concerned about those around you. I'm still here and I'll always be here because I want to see you more each day, to share in your happiness, to support you in your sadness. But most of all, I'll still be here because I want to see you smile. Your true smile. A single gust of wind rustles the long strands of wheat. A second silence passes. Smile when you want to smile. Cry when you want to cry. I love you, Lily, so you don't have to hold back anymore. With that, her arms clutch my back as tightly as she can, her face buried beside mine. Her tears fall down my back as she cries unrestrainingly as the last of her resistance melts away. Hisao! 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 I close my eyes and bring my head down to her shoulder, holding her shaking frame tightly. It's okay, Lily. I'll never go away. I promise. We slowly walk back to the house, holding each other tightly as we take a seat inside. Lily leans her head onto my shoulder as I put my arm around her waist. Neither of us have anyone to break the silence. Oh dear! Here we go! With her eyes shut, it's hard to work out whether she's fallen asleep. Not that I mind the warmth of her body leaning against me, the softness of her hand delicately held in mine. Oh dear! For a long, long time we sit leaning against one another, sharing our warmth and feeling as night eventually begins to settle in. Lily's gentle, soft voice ends the silence. Thank you, Hisao. Thank you for returning my feelings. Did you think I wouldn't? There was the possibility. I take a deep breath and thought. That much was only my fault. It's funny, actually, I was thinking of telling you about my own feelings sometime soon. I guess in that way you saved me the effort. She raises her hand a little and gives a tiny amused giggle. I smile at how earnest it is, so girlish in the lightness. She collects herself soon afterwards, her hair resting against my shoulder. Feeling a bit better? She gives a small nod. You are thoughtful, Hisao. That's why I like you. I'm sorry I'm like this. As much as I didn't want to make you concerned for me, I couldn't do anything to prevent it. Don't apologize for it. Please don't. Really? Have I ever apologized for my blindness even once? You can't help the way you were born, Hisao. There's no point in apologizing for who you are. She says this with surprisingly conviction. In the end, it was perhaps this mentality which spurred her to befriend me in such a short time, in addition to her motherly instincts. She did seem to become trusting very quickly, but I never questioned why. Now it seems obvious that she did so to help me as I went through one of the lowest points of my life. I moved to respond, but cut myself as I feel her finger run gently through my hair. I feel their soft and delicate touch moving downwards to trace the contours of my face, her palm finally settling on my cheek. You are a beautiful person, Hisao. Please don't ever apologize for that. For a moment, I'm utterly speechless. I slowly bend my head down, placing a tender kiss on her light, voluminous hair. We're a couple, right? Old fools, aren't we? We are. After a long calm, she speaks again. Hisao? Yes? I wouldn't mind if you... I feel her hand tensing under mine, trembling slightly. My mouth opens but I try as I might. I can't formulate a response to her proposition. Lily. Before I can say another word, she slips her hand from under mine and tenderly holds the side of my face once more. Please. Please. I give a peaceful smile, holding her hand against my cheek, as I nod a single time. Okay. And here we go, peoples! As I look into her eyes, she leans towards me. Her delicate lips touch mine as she guides herself with her hand. She breaks off not a single second later, faintly smiling. I love you, Hisao. We kiss again, this time with both of us meeting the other. While the previous kiss was one of love, this one of lust. Our tongues meeting and our breathing heavy. After precious seconds we part, both our faces well and truly flushed. Both of us bring our fingers to our lips in unison, recalling that fleeting feeling, rapidly becoming buried both by our urges and bashfulness. Lily is the first to shift, uncomfortably though. What is it? Should we get more comfortable? Okay. Now that she mentions it, this futon would be a bit too narrow to do much on. Considering the thoughts running through both our minds, it's no small wonder one of us has any measure of foresight left. I take her hands and guide her sideways as I move, the brief and awkward dance ending with both of us tentatively sitting on the floor opposite each other. As I reach forward to pull her top up, she stops as she moves her hand to do the same. You're shaking. I pause for a moment and look at my hands. Sure enough, they're quivering slightly. Whether it's from nervousness or excitement, I'm not sure. I guess I am. So you're as nervous as I am, then? I withdrew my hands and sighed, steadying myself. We have plenty of time, so there's no need to rush this. Sorry, it's my first time, so I'm a bit... She giggles, shakingly, all but confirming what I reasonably deducted by now. It's the same for me. I'm happy we could share this together. I match her smile, twofold, leaning forward and taking her body in my arms as she reaches to hug me back. I love you, Lily. You already said that. I can't help grinning. Even in such a situation, she still has her wits about her. Breaking our embrace, we decide to take off our own clothing. Whether it's easier this way, I don't doubt it's just an attempt to distract ourselves from our nerves. With slightly stiff hands, I begin to slide the first button out of my shirt. Once we remove the last of our clothing, we end up haphazardly piled behind us. My breath is taken by the sight in front of me. Oh dear. Oh, why the fruits? Sorry people. Adult content, I can't do that. Sorry peoples. I just can't. I know. But we're continuing forward. But maybe I will show it later on. After being woken by a sound, I open my eyes with a measure of reluctance. Turning my head to the left, I find the rain outside sweeps against the window's alley. Spray after wind-blown spray lashes against the glass as if trying its hardest to make up for the summer's previous heat. I sit up in the futon, holding the back of my neck to try and subdue the pain from my awkward sleeping position. By all accounts, I should be lamenting the turn in the weather, given that this is our last day here. The events of yesterday refuse to stop floating in my mind, though. The feeling of holding Lily's crying body in my arms. The rush of lust and hormones that flowed through us as we spent the night together. It seems almost futile to try and rationalize everything that happened. In an attempt to distract myself, I groan and lean over to retrieve my bag without standing. Pulling out one bottle after another, I take the daily regimen worth of pills from their containers and swallow them without further ado. It took a surprisingly short amount of time to get used to swallowing pills without water. That said, I suppose the same thing goes for getting used to live in a school for disabled students. Remembering Yanmaku, I become all the more grateful for having the chance to get away, even if it's just for the shortest of times. I appreciate the chance to spend time alone with Lily and Hanako, away from the bustle of school life, even considering latest complications. I never thought I'd say it, but the idea of living away from the city is a nice, tranquil area and an inviting one. It's a thought that barely a year ago would have seemed simply ludicrous. A flash of pink, no doubt. Hanako's gown peeks from around the corner. Realize I must look a sight since I've only just woken up. I slap the remaining pills into my mouth and run a hand through my hair. Yeah. Good morning. Oh, goddamn.
Good morning, Hisao.
Good. I replied to her, completely forgetting that I'm in the middle of swallowing a particularly large pill. Coughing and spluttering, I violently gag on it.
Hisao.
After sputtering loudly and tapping my chest a couple of times to force it down, I managed to recover. I'm fine, sorry. Forgot I was swallowing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I hold my hand up, gesturing for Hanako to stop. I gagged, it's my fault. Morning, Hanako. She pauses a moment before bowing in reply. Walking, no, staggering in behind, Hanako is the familiar figure of Lily. Yeah, behind Hanako is the familiar figure of Lily, also dressed in her pajamas. With her eyes full of sleep and her hair bedraggled, she's a sight to behold. Hi, Lily.
Good morning, Hisao.
For a while, a silence hangs in the air as neither of us know what to do. Given what's happened last night, we both have more than enough to reason to be finding the situation awkward. Just how are we meant to react to meeting each other after something like that? The best course of action would probably be to talk to Lily alone, to set things in order. I'll start making breakfast. Lily evidently catches onto my train of thought.
I'll help. Hanako, could you set the table?
She nods, her head disappearing into a cupboard as she quickly goes about her assigned task. I rub a little more sleep out of my eyes as I wander onto the fridge and take out some milk, and Lily grabs various brightly colored boxes from some of the lower cupboards to my side. While we make the rather bland-looking meal, I whispered somewhat more quietly than usual. Knowing Lily's hearing, she won't have any trouble catching what I say. Are you okay, Lily, after last night? She gives a delicate nod, her expression weak. Though her tiredness surely plays a part, she seems genuinely unsure about what's happened between us, and how to move ahead. I can't say I blame her, considering my feelings are the same.
I'm sorry, Hisao. I was thinking straight yesterday. I wasn't thinking straight yesterday. I never stopped to consider you or Hanako, and I even went as far as...
She's winding herself up. With her hands and voice both tightening, I give her a gentle bump to try and lighten up the situation. You don't have to apologize. I said I like you after all.
But I...
As her composure begins to falter, it becomes obvious there's no alternative. Turning Lily, I gently embrace her tall frame. She offers no resistance at all, thankfully pulling back just from the edge of her emotions. Despite our reassuring embrace, lasting only a matter of seconds, I notice Hanako wordlessly watching. The blade in her hand hovers inches above the table, her action halted midway by the sight. Oh dear. The clatter of utensils against plates is the only sound to be heard as we silently ate. Whereas before only two of us may have been unsure of ourselves, the entire situation has changed. After weeks of blissful friendship, we whiling away the days with shared meals and chatter with little meaning. The relationship of Lily and I, no, that of all of us, have irreversibly changed. I can't take this. Lily. She solemnly nods, gently laying her spoon onto the plate in front of her. Neither of us know exactly how we regard each other, let alone how Hanako would view us.
This might seem abrupt, but I've confessed to Hisao.
For a moment, Hanako looks almost confused. Precisely the reaction I thought she would have. She eventually nods, her spoon still in her mouth as she does.
Did you accept?
I did. She gives a small smile so large and so earnest, I find myself blushing. I think it's the brightest I've ever seen her expression look.
Then I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. I'm sorry for not telling you anything about it before. Things have been...
Hanako shakes her head from side to side, empathetically. Apparently forgetting in her rush that Lily couldn't possibly notice. She begins fiddling with her fingers, looking a little more nervous than she did before.
To be honest, I began to think you might like each other a while ago. At first I didn't really know what to think about it, but I decided in the end that if my friends are happy, then I'm happy. I was really glad to have another friend when we met Hisao, so you finding love through him is even better, right?
A feeling of relief as at her acceptance of our relationship falls over me like a wave. The same happens to Lily, judging by her expression.
Thank you, Hanako. I really appreciate you being so understanding.
Lily's voice sounds so slightly apologetic, or at least unsure. This doesn't escape Hanako, who appears lost in thought for a few moments before turning to me.
So, do you mind if me and Lily go outside for a bit?
Ah, no, feel free.
Hanako?
Hanako gets up from her seat, taking Lily's hand and almost dragging her from the table. In her excitement, considering Lily's typically slow and steady pace, Hanako's haste makes her footing awkward, and she almost loses her balance a couple of times. It's a pretty amusing sight, leaving me wordless, as I watch them disappear out in the door. It's only now that I realize the rain stopped, being replaced by sky seeming all the more vivid and bright to make up for the morning's drab gray expanses. For Hanako, this must be a pretty big revelation. Lily and I are really the only people she associates with, almost as if we were parents in her own stead. I suppose that might well be the best way to describe the relationship we share. A father, mother, and daughter, all playing around in our little make-believe family as if it could last forever. It might be a strange dynamic, and one that certainly can't last for long, but maybe just for this one small moment, it's okay. As I stand from the table and go to join Lily and Hanako in the field outside, I nod to myself in affirmation. This one small moment of happiness, no matter how brief, will last with me, with all of us, forever. Submerged deep in the hot water, I let a drawn-out sigh escape my lips, the feeling of seemingly every muscle in my body relaxing and euphoric. I have no idea how long it's been since I have a genuine hot bath, but right now I can hardly be bothered trying to remember. Maybe I'm giving the simple fact that, for once, I get to have a real bath more credit than it's due. The chance to just calm down, allowing myself to unwind and having some time to myself is a welcome one. Hanako, Lily, and I wandered about outside, exploring the extent of the surprisingly large tract of land surrounding the house. Then we spent the majority of the afternoon resting, watching TV, reading, and playing cards. Man, it's been the most exciting finale to the trip, but such tranquil peacefulness is something to savor. Even after we return to the school tomorrow, I think I'll remember this little house in Hokkaido for a long time. It's a pity we only have a couple more hours to spend here before going to get the train back. All I all I can do is yawn contentedly, while I watch the steam slowly rising from the clear water's placid surface, my eyes eventually locking onto the ceiling. Our exams are imminent. I barely study at all for them. On top of that, I don't even know what I'll do after graduation. Passing exams is all well and good, but to what end? Also, now, of all times, I'm getting into a relationship. What the hell am I doing? I guess I shouldn't think like that. What's done is done, and maybe this one could be viewed as just another aspect of my new life that I'm working on. I enjoy being with Lily, and there's more to life than school and a career after all. As I busily attempt to rationalize all that's happened, I hear a series of raps on the door. I pick myself and sit up tight, trying to figure out the source. 3. No more, no less. Light yet assertive in their tapping. Timed regularly enough to tune a metronome. I'd be extremely surprised if it wasn't Lily.
May I come in?
Yeah, it was Lily. I'm still in the bath. I'll be out in a sec.
I know.
The voice coming from the other side of the door freezes me. After a second thought, I rest on the side of the bath and let my arms dangle over the side. Despite trying my best to play it off, I can't help letting my mind wander. Sure, come in. With that, she opens the door, slowly walking into the room and closing it behind her. She looks oddly calm, countering my racing heart. Hey, Lily. Do you mind if I
take a bath with you?
I don't mind. Go ahead. With a small nod, she begins to lift her sweater off her shoulders, baring her chest little by little. I could do that for you if you'd like.
Refused.
Why? ...
Dot.
Her face shows she's still not overly comfortable with letting me attend to her. I can't say I blame her. She continues undressing, her shirt and skirt falling to the floor and leaving her in their white lace bra and panties. Eventually, she stands bare in the center of the room. Whoa! More! Sorry, people. If you guys would like me to film this, with no adult content, no restrictions on no content on that, blah blah blah. Go ahead and give me a holler. But right now, I am going to pause this for now because I gotta check how much memory it used. So anyways, without further ado, I'll be right back. Yeah, be right back, people. Back.